All right, everybody. I am so excited for this week's episode because we have a very special guest today, Anisha Jennings. And Anisha came into my world earlier in 2024, brand new to business. She'd been a professor. She has an incredible background in tech and all the things, and she was ready to start her own business. And as I've gotten to know her in these past several months, I've just been blown away by who she is, how she leads herself, and why she's here today is because she has the coolest story of how she got to where she is today, successful business owner, mom, incredible career as well. And so she's coming on to share her story, and she's got so many insights, so many takeaways that you can all go apply to your business. So she's going to share her story and her takeaways because there's so many things that you can pull out and apply directly to your own life today. So Anisha, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited and happy to be here. Thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's start at the beginning. I would love to hear. So you were born and raised in India, and you always wanted to come to the States, but your parents were like, I don't know. So like walk through that of just that navigating that, like even as a child, you knew this was where you wanted to be. Give us your story.
So, yes, I grew up in India. I was born in Hubli, Karnataka. It's the southern part of India, and I was raised there. I lived in my hometown until I moved here, which I moved here when I was 28. So, for 28 years of my life, I lived in my hometown. I did not move in India. I did not travel as much. And the other part, I wasn't like, I didn't ever think I would come to US. Like, I had relatives in the US. We had friends. I had students going to the US for masters. I didn't ever think I would come to the US. I knew I wanted to go out somewhere, get like a PhD from a foreign university, and then go back to India and be close to my parents. So it wasn't really planned. I knew I was meant to do big things and want to move, and I always moved. But then it so happened that after I graduated, I got a job in an engineering college as a teaching assistant. Then I moved in as a lecturer, and then I got my master's when while I was teaching. I got my master's part time, and when I graduated, I was promoted to an assistant professor. But then I just felt something was missing. I just was like, no, I need more. I'm kind of getting saturated. Um, I feel like I've done it all, seen it all. I need something beyond this. And I always knew I wanted to go into teaching. So I was just talking to my husband this morning and telling him my story of, after we graduated, everybody would apply to getting a job in the corporate world and whatnot, which I did to an extent. But then I knew for sure that I want to get into the teaching industry and get my master's. So after that, I was like, yeah, I need something more. And then I just heard about, how students are going to the US as a student for their master's. And it just felt like it was the right thing to do at that time. There was no plan. And it was huge burden to my parents because my dad had just retired. So it was huge investment for them to be able to send me to the US with getting a loan and collateral and all the financial aspect of it. And my dad was like, "Couldn't you think of this like a few years prior? Why do you have to go now when I'm retired?" But he was very supportive. My dad was very supportive in wanting me to, start my life again afresh. He was worried how I would be able to, navigate life all on my own. My mom wasn't thrilled. She, because I was already 28, single, not married yet, and that's too late by Indian standards. So she was worried. She was like, "How are you going to go all by yourself to a new country? And there's not going to be anyone there. So you get married and go wherever you want. We don't care. But get married first." And I'm like, but that's not what I want to do. And I don't think marriage ever was something I wanted to do. Even in my 20s, I don't think I ever wanted to get married. Um, for some reason, it was not something that interested me. And so I struck a deal with my dad. We were talking about it, and they were, it was a phase where I was having people who would come and like the arranged marriage. So they come home and like see you and like a proposal, like prospects, and then they visit your home with their parents, and then you have a little talk and whatnot. So that would happen every weekend, and I was tired of it. So I was like, okay, let's strike a deal here. You keep looking for prospects. I will start applying to colleges in the US. And whatever happens by the end of this year, we'll go with that. My dad was like, yeah, cool, whatever. And then I just started, studying for my GRE, for my English exam, like the IELTS, the TOEFL exam that I had to take for English language. And I just used all my income from my teaching job to go like take these exams and whatnot. Because my dad is like, yeah, if you're doing it with your own money. So I said, yeah, cool, that's fine. I'll just take it. So I kept like studying, hustling. I would work, and then on the side I would study, prepare for the exam. And by the end of the year, I did secure a seat at University of Massachusetts Lowell in the computer engineering program. And we were like, okay, here it is. I would like to go. So that was how it all played out.
Wow. That is just absolutely wild. Was there any part of you that's like, yes, I do want to go to the States, but it would be way easier to just stay here and do what is the normal, quote unquote, normal path or like what's expected of me?
No, actually, I was always ready to take on more challenges. Um, I did not know what life would look like in the US if I left. All I knew was I want to go to the US. What happens next wasn't what I was thinking of. The only thing I was thinking of is I got to get to the US. Once I get there, I'll figure it out. I'll see what needs to be done, how I need to, live my life. Whatever needs to be done, I will figure it out. But for now, the goal is to get to US. I'm going to just focus on that. So I just put my head down, hustled, worked, strategized, and just did not lose sight of that goal, basically.
That is amazing. The other thing that I really want to point out and just call out and celebrate you for is 28. Like, most people they make those major life decisions like going to college, around that time frame, but you essentially recreated like your pathway. Like you had already gotten into adulthood, found an amazing career, but like celebrating you for you're like this is not it. Like this is not the path that I'm supposed to be on. And that is so huge. And I think for everyone listening, how inspiring that we can restart, we can make a different choice, go down a different pathway at any point, even if we already have, quote unquote, been successful or have invested into college and a career and all of that. I just think that is so cool.
Yeah, people thought I was crazy because they were like, you're at home, you don't have to pay rent, right? Your mom cooks delicious food, so you don't have to worry about cooking. We have a maid who's taking care of the laundry and the cleaning of the house. I didn't really have to do anything besides study, go to work, and focus on my goals. And then I had a good job, which I loved, and it was like 10 minutes from my house, like 10 minutes of a ride because I had a moped, so I would go to work on a moped. And then everybody's like, you're pretty much settled in life. Why do you need to let go of this cushiony life and go struggle in a different country? You can just get married to someone and start a family and have a life. Why this huge step now? But I just didn't feel right. I just felt like this is not what I want, and there's something more for me. And I just, focused. It was very, very difficult because every single person that I mentioned I was leaving my job or moving to the US thought I was crazy, and like trying to change my mind and convincing me on getting married, and bringing me all these prospective husbands and whatnot. So it was just crazy.
Wow. There's so much to dive into there too, but I want to go, what happened? So you came to the States for school and you now are married and have a child. Like talk to us about that transition and like all the things there. So you came to the States and so you were very open. You're like, I don't know exactly what's going to go down, but I know I just need to get here.
Yes. So when I got here, it was totally different experience. It was like a huge culture shock because I had heard of it, but I didn't live it, right? So it was completely different to be all by yourself and whatnot. But I had a community, student community. I had a family that kind of, sort of took me in, and I was just blessed with people in my life. God put these people in my life strategically. So I was able to go through life. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. But there were moments I would pause and be like, this is what I was striving for. And here I am. This feels good. I would just like pause over the bridge where we had the river and just take in all of the moments and be like, yes, this feels right. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but at this point, this feels right. And I just kept going. And then I graduated. That's a whole different story because I couldn't find a job for almost a year. It was like visa issues. I would interview and it was just hard because I would see other people in my class getting jobs and whatnot. And it was just very, very difficult time. 2018 was a very rough period in my life. I went through so much emotionally, mentally. It was exhausting. But I just, the friends, family stood by me and encouraged me and just kept me going. And then, yeah, like 2020, we got married. So 2020, we got married. 21, we bought a house. In 22, we had our baby.
Oh my goodness. What a whirlwind. Okay, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. Tell us
Yes.
the biggest cultural shocks or differences you coming here and you're like, what are these crazy Americans doing? Like, why do they do that? What were some of those things?
Um, the first thing was the clothing, basically, like the dressing, how people dressed, right? Because from where I come from, it's just like people will look you up and down, like stare at you head to toe if you're wearing something different. Um, and I'm like, are they not cold? How are they wearing these clothes? To me, it was not more like, okay, look at what she's wearing or what he's wearing. To me, it was more like, are they not cold? Because my major concern after I came to the US is how do I keep myself warm? Because in India, where we had the coldest would be around, say, in the 60s, my dad still bought me like a space heater because I was always cold. So coming to the US, where it's like negative temperatures, especially Boston, like UMass, right? Like in Massachusetts, the snow and whatnot. I was like, how are these people not cold? And how do they like, how is it okay, like, that they dress this way and are still fine with it? Like, in the sense, I felt so liberating. It felt very liberating to see the freedom, basically, how free people are to be able to make a choice in what they wore, basically. That was huge for me. Like, look at the freedom these people have here to be able to dress like this or walk in the streets at like 10 p.m. Or in the middle of the night, they're walking back from university or whatnot. Because my home, the rule was you got to be home before sunset. So if I went out after dark, I was always accompanied by someone, like my mom, dad, somebody. So just to see that was huge to me, that you can be free and you're so safe and you can do your own thing, basically.
Wow. So do you think looking back now, um, like assuming if you had stayed in India, you'd gotten married, had a child, found a career that you loved, do you think your life would look really different compared to that same quote unquote life with married child job here? based on the cultural differences?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would have been a different person. I've always been very different in the sense that I questioned everything. I was not like I would even question the system and be like, no, this is not right. I'm not doing it or whatnot. So for me to be able to fight all that little changes and um, have like a happy life or feel good in myself, I guess would have been very challenging if I still, stayed back. There are different aspects of it. Like there's a lot that's different, and that's what I'm gonna talk about in my next podcast episode. But I miss certain things in India, and I embrace certain things in the US. And I don't think it's like an either or. I'm a different person now. Life is different and it would have been different. But I just feel for the person I am, my personality, I'm just at I'm in the right place.
I love that. Well, and let's talk about that. So what, in addition to your career where you do tech, tell everyone what else you're doing now. Your tech business, as well as helping immigrants navigate in the US and start their own businesses too. Tell us more about that.
So yes, my mentor, who is you, suggested that I talk about my life because, like you said, I have a cool story and it could inspire others. And I've always wanted to have a platform where I can share my story because I think I have a crazy story, and with everything that has happened in my life, I can share my experiences and maybe inspire someone somewhere, or even have them chuckle at things I've done or relate to it or resonate with it. So that's how the podcast came to being. And I released my first episode this past Monday. And I'm going to have episodes drop every Monday of the week. For now, plan is weekly, and we'll go from there. So the goal is to share my story and connect with fellow immigrant as business aspiring entrepreneurs, or just people who want to know how I got to where I am today, or who are looking for some insights or want to start a business and want to know the details of how they can start. So that's the goal of my podcast, and wanting to bring my story to everybody.
So amazing. So amazing. And what about your tech business too?
So once I graduated, this is my first corporate job that I hold because I was in the teaching space, but I taught like, electrical, electronics, engineering courses. Um, but my first corporate job, I started as a network admin. So I take care of servers, computers, laptops, the office suite, all that. I'm basically the IT. So, and I've been with my company for 5 years, and I figured, again, I need more. I'm saturated. I need something bigger. And that's how I, came into your world, started my business. And now I do website design, development, updates, CRM integrations, migrations, funnels, email marketing, anything tech that new business needs, or even someone who is like a small business, and they have tech needs. I'm your person.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I think, I mean, every single business needs that. Most of us that start like on the more creative side, coaches, mentors, all of that, like we are not tech people, we're creatives. And so that's where you come in, because all of us, and I think that's the biggest misconception too when starting a business, is we all think we have to be good at all of the things. We got to be good at sales and marketing and tech and social media and like literally every single thing. And no, you don't. You get to hire people like Anisha to do the stuff that might not be your zone of genius. And I just think you have such a beautifully well-rounded like offer suite, if it's like the technical support, the back end operations, but also for anyone who's an immigrant who needs support, needs a pathway, needs a hand to hold, as you navigate the new culture, the new life, and building out your dream life here in the States. And I mean, you have done exactly that. And it's just so cool to see the evolution of your story. And also, we're just getting started, baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so exciting. Well, if you could leave the listeners with a couple just key takeaways when you look back on your story and everything that you've gone through and navigated, overcome, accomplished, celebrated, what are the like the two or three biggest things that come to mind that you're like, that was why that happened?
I would say the biggest thing is resilience and keep going. Like, everybody has different situations, and not each situation lasts for a long time. It will pass. Like they say, this too shall pass. It will pass, but you have to keep going, keep your head high, and keep focusing on your goal. And, God will see you through it. Definitely, He will see you through it. And family is important, community is important. Try to participate as much as you can with your family, community, because they will be your support. Because now looking back, I was all by myself here. And if it wasn't for my family, I would have lost it. There's a lot of, homesickness and missing your family and not having friends. And I moved here when I was 28. The other people were like in their early 20s. We had different goals, we have different mindsets. Making friends when you're past like 27 is very hard, unless you find people with the same frequency. So lean into your support system and keep building on that. Don't ever forget your roots, because that's what helps you become the person you are going to be, or you are. It's whether it's a negative experience, a positive experience, everything is a learning lesson. Take from it, learn from it, tweak it, follow it. If you don't like it, change it, but just keep moving, take action, and keep going, basically.
Oh, I love that. Keep going. You go first. Always.
Yes.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, so you started out in my world in Mom to VA, and very quickly you rose as a leader and moved into my mastermind industry leader. Now you're a private client. Can you just share a little bit of what it's like being in this world and getting supported, and just any words of wisdom or anything like that? If anyone's considering joining one of my programs, or becoming a virtual assistant, becoming, an entrepreneur scaling to seven figures. Cause I love Anisha's story because she is like the prime, like you go first. She moves quickly. She's a leader. And even, I help entrepreneurs build systems and teams. And I love what Anisha did, which is exactly what I did early on. We know we're going big places. So we build the business that we need to have that will hold what we want in the future. And so you just hired a couple of team members in the last month. Like, you are making those big seven-figure CEO moves. And I just see you and celebrate you so much for that. So yeah, would love to hear any just reflection points on being in this world for the last, I mean, what is it now? Five or so months?
4.5 months. Yeah, almost 5 months.
Crazy, crazy. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm really, really grateful and thankful that I came across your world through another friend, and I took action. Basically, I didn't even think about it twice. I looked at your Mom to VA program. I went in, looked at all the description. I'm like, yeah, she's the bomb. I gotta jump in. She's gonna, she's my leader. She's my mentor. She's exactly the missing piece in my life right now. So I have to see what this is all about. And it was a difficult place for me to jump in financially, because I'm like, I don't know if I can invest in this at this point, because it's really hard. But I was making a decision from where I wanted to be rather than where I was. And I jumped right in. And the first week, like I joined March 4th, 2024, and I launched my business March 11th, 2024. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I came in not even knowing who a virtual assistant is, what they do, literally nothing. I did not know anything about the online world. Like, I have experience in, my regular job or teaching, but the online world was like completely new to me. So the moment I launched my business, within a week, I had like a couple discovery calls, and I was moving really fast because I was following. I'm very good at execution. So I was just, going through the modules, doing the work, taking action. And I remember that entire week I was sleeping probably like 3 or 4 hours a day because I just wanted to get this thing going. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take action, move, move, move. And within a month, I was like, I was very happy with where I was. But again, I knew I needed more. I knew that, I'm meant for more. I'm meant for bigger things, and I can do more with my potential. So I kept going, and I'm like, Bree, I need more. What is the next step? What is the next step? And then that's how I came into industry leader. And then once I was there, I'm like, I kept taking action, but then I'm like, yeah, there's still something missing here. I need more. And I just kept growing with you, and I did like the one-on-one and whatnot, and then now I'm your private client, and it's amazing. It's because of how you've moved. You are the leader that everybody aspires to be, and you've gone before us, and now you're showing us the pathway and encouraging us, and the community you've built. Your world is amazing. People just, it's just Bree, just the name, and everybody will be like, oh, yeah, yeah, you got to be in Bree's world. So you are amazing, and you have such great energy, and you've built a very wonderful community who's always supporting each other, mothers, and whoever wants to come in. So like I said before, community is very important. You can never do it alone. Anybody can reach wherever they want, but unless you have that community and support, you can't have it all. You will lack either mentally or emotionally or physically or spiritually. There will be some aspect of it that you will be lacking if you don't have the community and support with you. So you have that super solid foundation and structure, and it's just going to grow from there. So I'm very, very happy and honored that I can be a part of this community.
Oh, and I mean, from day one, we're like, it is so funny. I literally still remember when your enrollment came through because we had never talked before. And I remember just like looking on my social media platforms and like my email list. And I'm like, where, like, she's not on anything. Like, where did she come from? This is, I mean, so fun. And I do remember that too, like your first week in Mom to VA, you're like, oh yeah, I already have discovery calls. And we're like, okay, like let's freaking go. So just so fun to see
Yeah.
you rise and I mean, you talk about community and like you are part and parcel to that community. Everyone loves you and you show up for everyone. They show up for you. I mean, it's amazing. I love you.
I love you too.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Anisha. For anyone that is listening to the replay to the episode, definitely reach out to Anisha if one, obviously, if you need tech support for your business, automations, funnels, all that good stuff, like things that every single business needs. But also, if you are part of, the immigrant story, you've moved to the States from somewhere else, or maybe you're just navigating your way through. Anisha is also your person. She can help you navigate. She can help you launch your dream business too. So definitely reach out to her. All of her information will be in the show notes, and she would love to connect with you. So thank you so much, Anisha. So happy you're here. Thanks for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.